Sorry. Live.
ሰላም ጤና ይስጥልኝ የኢሲኤልኤ ተከታታዮች ቫለንቲሮች ኮሚቲስ እና ቦርድ ሜምበርስ እንደምታውቁት በየሳምንቱ ለኮሚኒቲያችን ይጠቅማል ብለን የምናስበው ኢንፎርሜሽን እናመጣለን አሁን ደግሞ በሄልት ኬር ያለነው ሰዎች ለኮሚኒቲያችን ይጠቅማል ብለን ያሰብነውን አሁን እንደምታውቁት በኮቪድ ምክንያት ብዙ ህይወታችን ዲስራፕትድ ስለሆነ ቫክሲን አቬይላብል ስለሆነ እና ትንሽ ኢንፎርሜሽን ያስፈልጋል ለኮሚኒቲው በማለት የሄልት ኬር ሰዎች አቅርበንላችኋል አንደኛው ሁለቱንም ኢንትሮዲዩስ አደርጋለሁ the first one is Dr. Yeshi Mikias Dr. Yeshi Mikias በጣም we're very proud እንደዚህ አይነት ሰው ኮሚኒቲያችን ውስጥ በመኖሩና እንዳውም ጊዜዋን ሰታለኛ በአሁኑ ጊዜ ከኛ ጋር በመገኘቷ በጣም እናመሰግናለን little bit background ስለ ዶክተር የሺ molecular biology bachelor's አላት ከዛም በመቀጠል PhD in molecular and pharmacology ከUCLA አግኝታለች ብዙ ያጠናችው about the molecular and medical pharmacology she studied about proteins viruses that have the potential of being used in drug delivery meaning በጣም important key information ነው ይሄ እንደምታውቁት covid is a virus እና vaccination አለ መድኃኒት የሚታሰበው ሁሉ የሚያጠቃልል ነገር ነውና በጣም ኢምፖርታንት ኪ የሆነች ሰው ናት በአሁኑ ሰዓት ከዛም በመቀጠል ደግሞ ፖስት ዶክተራል ፌሎሺፕ በኤችአይቪ ኢሚዩኖሎጂ ከዩሲኤልኤ አግኝታለች በአሁኑ ሰዓት ለፋርማሲውቲካል ካምፓኒ ውስጥ ትሰራለች ሌላ ደግሞ በጣም ማስተማር ወዳለው ስላለች UCSD ሌክቸረር ናት ኤውላ ትምህርት ተምራ ከዛ ፋርማኮቴራፒ ታውቃለች ከዛም በላይ ደግሞ ወደ 24 ዓመት ክሊኒካል ሪሰርች እና ኤክስፒሪየንስ ያላት ሰው ናት አሁን ብዙ ጊዜውን ሳላጠፋ ለሷ እንድሰጥ ስለምፈልግ ዶክተር የሺ you can take it from here
Can you hear me? I said unmute. I thought I was unmuted.
Ahon, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry. So I said thank you very much for a very kind introduction. So I will go ahead and share my screen and get you going here. So Gabas, one of the things that the community asked me is vaccines COVID, the science background. So my presentation, I'm not a medical doctor, so I come very much from the science. So I'm going to explain to you from the science perspective. So everything about the science. So let's see. Okay. So Eskada has given the introduction, and I just briefly here, like she said, my PhD is in molecular medical pharmacology, and specifically a part of my PhD was looking at viruses as a mechanism for drug delivery. So that's where I come in and trying to explain what COVID is about and what the drug development in COVID is about. So with that, my goal here is to present to you, like I said, the science. But I'm important to understand the science. Most importantly is I would like you to be informed about the decision you make about taking the COVID vaccine and or not taking it. Hopefully after this, you will want to take, be convinced to take it. There's a lot of scientific data behind it. So I'm going to break it down and try to explain. We'll open it up for the questions later, but really try to explain and go through the science of the virus as well as the drug. So a little bit of a background about the COVID virus. So you know, the first time it was identified was in 2003. At that time, it was 8,000, approximately about 8,000 people infected. That's the first generation of the virus. It's caused, and the identification of this virus is really the cause. What is associated is with the severe respiratory syndrome. So it causes a lot of, it's the airway, and all, you know, all the lung and your air tubes. That's where it affects. That's where its primary mechanism of action is. And so the respiratory effects were identified with this virus in 2003. Then the next generation was around 2012 in the Middle East. There was the Middle East COVID, and that infected about 2,400. Then it mutated, of course. I mean, viruses are well known to mutate and keep on trying to get more and more efficient. So that was 2019, we all know that. And as of date, I did these slides, there were 241 million cases worldwide, 4.9 million deaths, and then 218 million recovered. So it's affected, it has a huge effect. So we're living through a pandemic, like it's not news to anybody. But you know, one of the things I wanted to mention is the human race has gone through many if and so this is it's just that we just happen to live in one of them. If you ask a few hundreds of years ago, when there was like the Black Death plague, at that time they had the same concerns. You know, you're looking for medicine for that. They're like hesitation to all that. But then we've come a long way since then. Those medicines then, we accept them now. So where are we now in that whole process? It's not new to be anxious about new medicines, but we have to ask questions and move forward. So with that being said, let's get some basic information about how the virus works, and it's really important to understand. So I'm going to break it down and show you what kind of activities the virus has. So this is a basic structure of the cell, an animal cell. So if you concentrate on the left-hand side, we have a very unique structure within the cell called the nucleus. It's a very highly protected environment. That's where the DNA is for our genetic, basically the genetic code. The DNA never leaves the nucleus. It always remains in the nucleus. It transfers its information to the messenger RNA. The messenger RNA is what leaves the nucleus. And when it leaves the nucleus, with the help of an assortment of proteins, many proteins, it gets translated to protein. So the protein then folds into very highly complex structures. Every protein that's produced is very unique. We've got millions and millions of proteins in our body. And they fold in a unique way to be operate for that unique function they have. So they fold into very highly complex structures. And then once the mRNA does its job, once it's translated to a protein, it gets degraded into subunits. It never goes back to the nucleus. That's it. It breaks up in the outside the nucleus, and that's it. It's done its job. This cycle, please keep in mind, because it's very important as we go through this talk, how this plays out with the virus. So basically DNA, mRNA, and then protein. So then let's get to this virus. COVID or any viruses, they don't have the machinery to get their genetic code into protein. So the way they live is by hijacking whatever organism they invade. They hijack the mechanism to replicate. COVID is an RNA protein. It's not a DNA protein, it's an RNA protein. So what it does is it attaches itself to the receptor on a cell. So this structure you see here, this whole structure you see here is a cell. It attaches itself, releases its DNA into that cell, then hijacks the cell's machinery to make more protein, its own protein, assembles its protein, and closes it into its own molecule, and then is spewed out. And that's how it lives. So the receptor for this specific virus, the greatest concentration for this receptor is in our airway system. And so that's why it attacks the airway, and which results in flu-like symptoms. So the RNA, this virus, like I mentioned before, the RNA of this virus can never go into our nucleus. It's an RNA virus, so it stays outside the nucleus and builds itself out that way. And then the RNA, of course, is degraded after the protein is made, and it keeps on going, keeps on multiplying this way. COVID is an RNA virus. There's other viruses that are DNA viruses that they're very rare. They do go into the nucleus. In those instances, when they go into the nucleus, they change our genetic structure, the material, and they often are cancer-causing viruses. That's why they're called oncoviruses and result in cancer in the body. But it's all, in this instance, RNA. COVID is an RNA virus. If you look at its RNA structure, it's very, very simple. It only makes 6 proteins. That's it. But one of the most important proteins it has is called the spike protein. The spike protein is what is on its surface, and which attaches itself to its target cell. It uses the spike protein. So the spike structure is, it folds in a unique structure and used to attach, like I said. Again, the spike protein is what attaches to the host cell, the lung cell, and that's when the virus then is able to really, enter the cell and release its DNA, its genetic material, right? So it's very important to understand all this. So what happens is whenever we have a foreign thing in a foreign protein in our body, the alarm is set off by the immune system. So it gets into this immense attack to get this foreign protein outside. It's recognized as foreign. And so every possible kind of attack is launched, right? So chemicals are released to activate other chemicals. There are cells that come and attack the virus itself. So killer cells come attack that. So everything, antibodies, the whole system is activated. So when it's released like this, and when it tries to attack, necessarily a lot of chemicals are released, and that is what causes all these symptoms. You have shortness of breath, a cough, coughing, fever, chills, fatigue. It's because it's this launch of trying to get the virus out of the system. So the body reacts. So what else can we do to aid the body to get rid of the virus? The problem is, and for viral infections, there's no medicine that kills the virus. So what you do is you enable the body to make more of those cells or chemicals to help it neutralize that virus, right? So what we do is give vaccines. So there are several ways of giving vaccine. The main goal of that vaccine is to teach our immune system before it gets infected by the real virus, to teach our system to recognize that protein before it comes, and then when it comes, it's all ready and can neutralize it immediately. So there are several types of vaccines out there, right? So one of the ways we can do is actually take the virus, take the COVID virus, and inactivate it outside in the laboratory, inactivate it, neutralize it, and then inject it into, give it as a virus. Now you have a quote unquote dead virus, but all the proteins are there. So then without initiating this whole cycle of producing viruses, the immune system now sees this protein, is ready, is launched. So when the infection comes in, it's ready with all this mechanism to neutralize. So this kind of inactivated virus that's given, the current vaccines for that is produced by China. Sinopharm and Sinovac are the two vaccines that use this mechanism. Similar vaccines that use the similar kind of mechanism is cholera, the polio, MMR, yellow fever, tuberculosis. We all had that vaccine. So that's the mode of production of this particular vaccine. The other vaccine is actually taking another virus, which is very efficient in delivering the genetic material, but that virus itself is inactivated. So you put the genetic material of COVID in there and give it to the body, and then it does not replicate, but it produces the proteins, and now they're the proteins again. It's the same theory, same concept. You produce the protein, the body is enabled to produce, activate against the proteins. This mechanism is done by, the most famous one is the AstraZeneca vaccine, uses this mechanism for the vaccines they've put out for COVID. Similar vaccines is the Ebola vaccine, is based on this technology. So it's using an inactive form, but another virus as a carrier into the system, and then you neutralize the proteins and activate the immune system, right? So this is a second technology. A third technology is actually taking the proteins, breaking up the virus, just taking out, mashing it up, and injecting that, and hoping that the body, there's at least one native form of the protein and there, that the body starts activating and producing more of the cells or an immune response towards that. Those proteins. So for this is, for the famous one, which we know in the United States is the Novavax vaccine, uses this technology. And similar vaccines is the seasonal flu, hepatitis B, and tetanus. So we all have had this vaccine, this sort, we've been injected with this kind of protein. Okay, so the fourth one, which is completely new. This is what is most famous and a lot of noise around. This is the RNA technology. So you go a step back and take the RNA of the virus and give it to the body. So remember, I told you that COVID virus, the COVID virus is an RNA virus. It injects itself into our system. It doesn't go to the nucleus, and then it produces a protein. And that's the protein that the body's trying to neutralize, okay? So in this case, you're just giving the protein. So there's not a virus, it cannot assemble. So then the RNA, actually the RNA specifically, what we're looking at is the RNA to the spike protein. You remember that protein that attaches? That's the one they've been making. It's just one particular protein. It's not all the proteins, not all 6 proteins. It's not one protein. It goes into the cell. The spike protein is made. It's released. Now the spike protein, the immune system sees it, and it's now ready to activate, right? So this vaccine is the Pfizer vaccine and the Moderna vaccine. So the question becomes, okay, it's an RNA virus, it goes into my DNA and all that. Again, I presented to you the COVID. If COVID could do that, then we would have been destroyed by now, right? So that's a very, very false perception out there or conversation out there that it goes into the nucleus. It does not, right? It's just the RNA to the spike protein. The spike protein is produced and it's neutralized by the virus. It's a brand new technology. The issues, some of the issues that come up with though is what else do these vaccines contain? Because what happens is you can't inject just the protein. You can't inject just an RNA. It has to be in a suspension. So what they usually do is this suspended in what's called an adjuvant suspension, is these chemicals to stabilize whatever it is. So if it's a protein vaccine, it stabilizes the protein so that the protein doesn't fall apart before it reaches its destination in your body to activate, because your injection is in your muscle, it's usually in the muscular. So it has to be stable enough to get to the place where it needs to activate your immune system. So whether it's for the protein vaccine or the RNA vaccine, there has to be a suspension chemical. One other suspension unique chemical in the RNA is this lipid nanoparticles. They just surround the RNA to make it to make it even more stable. But the problem with RNA is it's a very, very unstable structure. Like I said, I told you, once it makes the protein, it's degraded. It's very easily degraded. So if you recall, one of the issues that Pfizer and Moderna had was to keep the temperature very, very cold. And by keeping it very cold, you're trying to eliminate that degradation. Okay, so they had to put it into in a freezing state to stabilize the mRNA. Now the problem is one of the suspension chemical, polyethylene glycol, which stabilizes the mRNA, has been implicated in allergic reactions. Now, it's not to everybody. It just so happens that some people are sensitive to this particular protein. So if you've heard that some people have, oh my goodness, they had massive allergic reaction, it is highly likely because of the suspension chemical. There is ways to mitigate, and people, one of the questions they ask you when you're going to get a vaccine is, are you allergic to anything? That is a standard question for anything that you get vaccinated. And it's because if you are, they are ready to mitigate that. So if you get an allergic reaction, it would happen within a short period of getting that vaccination, and they get ready for if you do to neutralize that allergic reaction. Okay, so this is the culprit behind the allergic reaction. Okay, so another question that's been out there is it safe to take during pregnancy or breastfeeding? So the COVID-19 vaccines, the mRNA vaccines, have been authorized by the FDA. I mean, the FDA scrutinizes data. Everything is based on data. It's not hearsay. The data have to be there to show whether or not they make decisions on the data. So based on that, they have authorized it for pregnant and breastfeeding mothers. Again, that person highly recommend that you work with your primary care physician if you have any concerns. So why go with an mRNA? Why not go with all the other vaccines? Or why even bother with mRNA? The thing is that with mRNA, there's several advantages. One is the safety. You know, mRNA is a non-infectious, non-integrating material. It degrades so rapidly. It goes into, once it successfully gets to a cell and gets that protein, it's just to kickstart your immune system, right? So it's very safe. Unlike sometimes some of the other mechanisms, you may have allergic reactions even more, right? mRNA is not a protein. The allergic reaction is probably is lessened a lot. It's effective. It usually, because the mRNA, once it gets in, when it folds, it's folded in so every mRNA codes for a protein, and that protein folds in a unique state. And because that fold then, when it triggers the immune system, is so close to the natural state of the vaccine, versus if you chop up the protein or if you do other things, it's not as close. It's close enough, but not as close. This makes it a lot more effective than the other vaccines. And then on the production side, it has the mechanism to be produced very, very rapidly, as opposed to the other vaccines. Just getting it into the other vaccine structure. So if you had a carrier vaccine or you did the protein, that takes a long time. That's actually one of the reasons why the pharmaceutical companies were very efficient in getting these vaccines out, because the mRNA technology is very rapid. So the question becomes, if this was the case, why wasn't the mRNA vaccine developed a lot earlier? Why are you telling us all this now? Why, well, you know, why did we take the tetanus, whatever, on the other technology? Why not that then? So it's been around since 1987. It's been around a long time, mRNA, and the labs have been trying very hard to get it working. The problem is, like I said, mRNA is very, very difficult to work with, very difficult. So it's like, and not only outside the body, inside the body, it's even unstable. So it needed modifications so that not only is it stable outside, when you inject it, before it gets to the cell, it should not be wiped out. So you don't want something to stop it going to the cell. So that all these hurdles had to be met. So it's not rejected, it's not degraded, all these things. So it's only very, very, very recently that everything worked, that it was optimized, and we can use it in this COVID. So it was risky, you know, that they hadn't, but they had to go with that risk and produce these vaccines and see what happens. And so when they produced it and they tested it, it worked well. That being the case, I'll tell you that the next generation of medicines is mRNA. So we're not going to go away from this. It's going to increase. Okay, COVID-19 is just the beginning. You know, there's nearly, just after the COVID, there's 1,900 clinical trials. These are studies in humans investigating the use of mRNA in different settings. I mean, everybody's going for this. So even the flu vaccine is no longer going to be the old flu vaccine. It's going to be an mRNA flu vaccine. And the reason is you inject, I mean, there's a potential, rather than getting a flu vaccine every year, because you're getting a native form of the protein, you can get it's a possibility that the flu vaccine can be given every 5 years. You don't have to take it every year. So that's a great advantage. You know, there are now mRNA in cancer, in HIV. So everything, they're trying it on everything. So we're not going to go away. You know, take polio, you know, a century ago. Same thing, when they produced it, we moved forward. Now nobody questions. At that time, I'm sure a lot of people questioned. Now we don't even blink an eye when we take polio vaccine. So come 50 years, nobody will be questioning the mRNA technology. All right. So in summary, what I wanted to say is, please be informed. Whether or not you want to take the vaccine, please be informed. Do not make your decisions because somebody else said so, or somebody had a bad reaction. It just may happen that one person you met may have had, allergic reaction is not on everybody. It's a very unique situation. Yes, if you have a history of allergies in your family or yourself, then you may be prone. But at the same time though, there's ways to mitigate that allergic reaction. But please be informed. Don't take your news from Facebook, from anything. Read the literature. Everything I presented is out there in the public space. You can read it. Some literature is very basic enough to understand. Some is very scientific. It's a little harder to understand, but it's all there. Science is all based on data. It's not hearsay, it's based on data. So as an example, the evidence for the COVID vaccine developed by Pfizer enrolled 43,000 patients. It's not 10 patients, 20 patients, 43,000 patients. They collected data from 43,000 patients. And that's what the FDA went by, you know? So they look at the efficacy, the efficiency, you know, these people were exposed to COVID, you know, take the vaccine and you get exposed and see if you live through it, you know? So there is they look at the safety of the safety data. So every data is scrutinized. So please understand that science is all data-based. So with that, I will end my talk and move forward. I don't know if there are questions, so happy to respond to any questions. Hello.
እንግዲህ ጥያቄ ካላችሁ እንትንላለን። አሁን ሶፋር አንድ ካመንት መጥቷል። በጣም ቴንክ ዩ ቬሪ ማች ላቀረብሽው ኢንፎርሜሽን በጣም ኒድድ ነው ብለዋል። ዶክተር ዮሺ will keep you on board ምክንያቱም I'm sure ብዙ ሰው ጥያቄ ይኖረዋል። most of all ደግሞ ሁሉንም misconception like DNA ይቀይራል ሚሊዮን ኮንሰፕሽን በተለይ በስዕል አርገሽ ስላቀረብሽልን በጣም እናመሰግናለን። እና አምሹ ብዙ ጥያቄ ይኖራል። ሶ ሄንገን ታይ አሁን ደግሞ ከዶክተር የሺቀት በመቀጠል እሷ እንዳለችው ክሊኒካል ሪሰርች ነው ኤክስፐርቲሷ። ሌላ ደግሞ ክሊኒሽን ዶክተር የሆነ ዮናታን ግዛው ይባላል። እሱን ደግሞ ጠርተነዋል። እሱ ደግሞ የሚነግረን እንደ ሄልት ኬር ወርከርስ ሆስፒታል ውስጥ ምን እንደሚያዩ ምን ሀፕን እያደረገ እንደሆነና አንዳንድ ጥያቄዎች መቸስ ቫክሲን መጥቷል እና ብዙዎቻችን በጣም ሄዚተንት ነን ይሄንን ቫክሲን ለመውሰድ አዲስ ከመሆኑ የተነሳ ግን ደግሞ ውስጥ ሆነው ችግሩን ከሚያይ ክሊኒሽን ብንሰማ ደግሞ ሀሳባችንን እንቀይራለን በማለት እሱን ጋብዘነዋል። እንዳልኩት ስሙ ዮናታን ግዛው ይባላል። ኢንተርናል ሜዲሲን ሆስፒታሊስት ፊዚሽን ነው። ፕራክቲስ የሚያደርገው ለቢግ ቲቺንግ ኢንስቲትዩሽን ነው። አንፎርቹኔትሊ ካንሳስ አይደለም እንደ ሚድዌስት ነው። ሶ እሱ he can share a little more ምን እንደሚያይ የሱ ፎርማት ደግሞ ጥያቄና መልስ ይሆናል። በመሃል እናንተ ሊያስረዳችሁ የምትፈልጉት ጥያቄዎች ካለ feel free chat box ውስጥ ለመክተት። with that said, Jonathan, መድረኩ ላንተ ነው። ራስን ማስተዋወቅ ከቻልክ feel free.
Thank you. Jonathan ግዛው እባላለሁ። ካንሳስ ነው የምኖረው። I've been in practice አሁን አራተኛ ዓመቴ ላይ ነውና I work for a large hospital as a teaching hospital. Now, like unfortunately, we've been seeing a lot of COVID, you know, over the past couple of years. Now, you know, initially we had that big peak መጀመሪያ ላይ you know, we're seeing about ከ150 እስከ 200 patients just diagnosed with COVID pneumonia. እና በጣም like I think hospitalaችን like 800 ቤድ ያለው hospital ነው። 200 የኮቪድ ሲሆን እንግዲህ that's like 25% of our patients were COVID patients. because as time went on, we had that drop mahal lai, and then we thought like things were getting better. Unfortunately, we had the second spike with the Delta variant, and now we picked up the Gamis Kamato ወደ 200. የመጀመሪያው obviously like we weren't prepared for it, we didn't know what to treat it with. So it was difficult so treat ለማድረግ. Again, like the second one, it was just a little frustrating. We knew some things, we had a vaccine, again, because of the vaccine hesitancy, some people still don't believe like COVID is like a real disease. We still have patients admit ምናረጋቸው chest x-ray አይተናል, COVID test ተደርገው positive ሆነው they still argue ከኛ ጋር no COVID የለኝም, it's nothing else, it's COVID. Like so like still አንዳንድ ሰው denial አለ እና like we had our peak አሁን fortunately it's going back down and now like hopefully like so it's ሰምቶ we've seen ይሄን ያህል ሰው ሞቶ ይሄን ያህል ሰው ታሞ hopefully people will take it seriously and not like get vaccinated, still keep up with the mask, so that way we're not going to have going into the winter season, we're not going to have another peak. You're muted, Skada. Mute line.
ይቅርታ thank you ለዚህ explanation as ሁላችንም familiar ነን ካሊፎርኒያ በተለይ LA area በጣም hit ተደርገናል ብዙ life was lost, I think number 1 in the nation and then so far unfortunately እና መጀመሪያ ላይ misconception ነበረ covid ብዙ ጊዜ elder disease of the elderly ነው እና እንዳውም ብዙ ወጣቶች እድሜያቸው ገና ከሆነ ብዙ illness ከሌላቸው ይሄ ለኛ ምንም አያረገንም የሚል comments ብዙ ጊዜ ይመጣልና ካንተ experience hospital ውስጥ ምን አይነት patient clientele base ነው ያላችሁ በኮቪድ የተጠቃ?
So የኛ ሰርቪስ አድሚት የሚያደርገው it's 18 and above, we service everybody ከዛ በላይ. So I mean ትንሽ truth አለ የመጀመሪያው round ላይ remember like it was mostly like elderly were getting affected by it. Again, even then like every now and then you still would see younger patients, like in their 40s and their 30s. Unfortunately with the second peak, like the second with the Delta variant, it might have been because of the vaccination. I mean, we're still getting patients that were older than 65 getting sick with COVID. Again, most of them tended to be, but I'm young. These are like people in the ages between like 20 to 50. And not the majority of the patients, like at least in a personally admit it was just surprising though, like COVID pneumonia simato, they're in their 30s, like most of them didn't have any medical problems, maybe like and then to the ones that get really sick, obesity and oral and like they really didn't have any other medical problems. It was they're young, vaccinated and that was the reasoning too. It's like, oh, why didn't you get vaccinated? Well, like I don't have any medical problems. No, that really doesn't rule you out of having a severe disease. Not some of them were really young, like in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and then also on top of it, it's just not just COVID which like COVID, like it's very pro-inflammatory now. And now they still have the pneumonia buzum admission, like it wasn't severe enough hospital admit የሚያስደረጋቸው ግን CT ስታረጋቸው then you end up finding blood clots. So on the second spike line, we saw a lot of patients that had COVID that also had blood clots. And now, but I'm pro-inflammatory virus now. So like age range, like initially we thought like, oh, if you're older, now if you had like medical problems, it's going to be bad disease, but again, it's not. Like, with the Delta variant, I feel like some of it is just luck. You don't necessarily need to have like comorbidity መኖር አያስፈልገውም. Young healthy people are still getting sick, still getting admitted, still ending up in the ICUs.
እሺ thank you ለዛ response. የሚቀጥለው ጥያቄ ደግሞ እንደ ወጣት ትንሽ እድሜ ያላቸው እንዳልከው 18 20 35 ዓመት ሊሆኑ ይችላሉ እነሱ አድሚት ከተደረጉ ICU ሲገባ የሚተርፉ ኤክስፒሪየንስ አርጋችኋል ወይስ ከICU በኋላ እንደው የማይታወቅ ሲቹዌሽን ላይ ናቸው?
Right. So, like I had actually like የራሴ ፔሸንት ነበረኝ young guy ማለት ነው ስንት ዓመት ነው የኔ ታናሽ 35 ዓመት ነው ሰውየው ምንም ሜዲካል ፕሮብለም የለውም ትንሽ I think he was ትንሽ ኦቢስ ነበረ ሶስት ህፃን ልጆች አሉት I think the oldest one was like 8 እና በጣም like he didn't want to go to the ICU መጀመሪያ ፍሎር ላይ ያለ ማለት ነው he's been in the hospital 7 ቀን ነው 6 ቀን እኔ when I went to see him he really didn't want to go to the ICU but like his oxygen requirement was massive like you know like 15 liter በሚሳል cannula አርገንለት በፌስ ማስክ like አርገሽለት ራሱ his oxygen saturation was like 90% 88% you know and he was just really struggling to get you know like to breathe eventually like he ended up in the ICU you know he didn't die again he's been in the hospital on Arato so at this time they couldn't take him off the vent he's just had so much lung damage they couldn't take him off the vent so they had to put in a trach he ended up getting kidney failure so he was on dialysis ለተወሰነ ጊዜ I mean fortunately he's off dialysis አሁን he had to be on a feeding tube you know 35 ዓመቱ ነው ሰውየው ምንም ሜዲካል ፕሮብለም የለውም ግን አሁን ሲወጣ it's just a completely different human being even like በሰላም ማለት ነው እንደዚህ ትሬክም ሳይደረጉ ፔክቱብም ሳያስፈልጋቸው discharge የምታደርጋቸው patients so they're there like hospital because most of us like oxygen requirement hospital ውስጥ እያሉ it's high ስለዚህ hospital ሲቆዩ it's not 5 ቀን 6 ቀን አይደለም they're there for at least like 3-4 weeks ከ3-4 weeks በኋላ ራሱ ወደ ቤት ስትልካቸው they still need oxygen we're not sure exactly how long they're going to need it for again like oxygen you know የ35 ዓመት ሰው ሆነሽ oxygen tank ይዘሽ walk ማድረግ it's not like social like ብዙ ነገር complicated ያደርግብሻል you know so it's just not just covid pneumonia ብቻ ሳይሆን like it does have like ብዙ like social aspect አለው mentally physically like there's so many things that follow just the pneumonia part you know like we always talk about like news times it's always oh covid pneumonia no it's just not pneumonia you know you're still going to get you know you're going to have some psych issues because like you've been isolated for so long you know there's kidney issues heart issues it just doesn't affect one thing you know there's like a cascade of things that follow after the covid pneumonia
እሺ ቴንክ ዩ በጣም ይሄ በእውነቱ ከሆነ በጣም የሚያሳዝን ኤግዛምፕል ነው የሰጠህን እንዳልከው ብዙም ኢልነስ የሌለው ሰው ኮቪድ ምን ያህል ዴቫስቴቲንግ እንደሆነ ነው እና ከኤክስፒሪየንስ መቸስ በአሁኑ ሰዓት አመስዩሚንግ የምታዩት በሽተኞች ሆስፒታል ውስጥ አንቫክሲኔትድ ናቸው አንቫክሲኔትድ ከሆኑ ደግሞ እንደው እግዚአብሔር ብሎ ከተረፉ ሪዝናቸው ምንድነው ቫክሲኑን ያልወሰዱት እና ሲወጡስ ቫክሲን ለመውሰድ አሳባላቸው ወይ
so some of it again like ቅድም ዶክተር እሺ mention እንዳደረገችው like it's all about information so like ወደ ሆስፒታል ሲመጣ አንዳንዱ they just tell you oh you know ጊዜ አልነበረኝ right ላይፋችንን ሴቭ ለማድረግ ጊዜ ከሌለን I don't know like ለመቼ ጊዜ እንደሚኖረን that's one the other one I mean right now the biggest issue is it's just a misinformation ምክንያቱም like every single patient that comes in they're an expert oh you know ይሄንን አንብቤ እንትን ላይ እንደዚህ አይነት ሳይድ ኢፌክት አለው ይሄ እንደዚህ ያደርጋል like you know like በጣም ብዙ ሪዝን አለ I'm pretty sure like you've seen it like online በየቦታው ትሰሚያለሽ ዶክተር ሽቅድም mention I think አርገሽዋል ስለ fertility ምናምን ያወራሉ like it has nothing to do ከfertility ጋር ጂናችንን ይቀይራሉ no it does not it's just blood clot ያመጣል actually it doesn't you know like yeah Johnson & Johnson እና I think AstraZeneca የሆነ በጣም ትንሽዬ percent ክላት ፈጥረዋል like በጣም ትንሽዬ percent ነው ግን I think it's like መጨረሻው is like 0.0021% chance ክላት ለመፍጠር አንደኛ ነገር we don't even have AstraZeneca እዚህ Johnson አረፍ ስንት ነው like I think it's like 9 million vaccine ሰጥተው I think 28 people had it. Like, but I'm like ትንሽዬ number ነው ግን it's just like we're so like misinformed that we don't like የራሳችን ኢንቨስቲጌሽን አናረግም it's just ሶሻል ሚዲያ ላይ ታያለሽ ወይ ቅድም ዶክተር ሽንት ያልሽው እንትና እንደዚህ ብሎ ነበር እንትና እንደዚህ ብሎ ነበር no it's okay አሁን like ሪሶርስ አለን everybody has internet everybody has a cell phone like you can always go to like with the CDC WHO like in the John Hopkins and the UCLA like these like big organizations like they have all information like myth ራሱ Google like search ብታረጉት like it breaks down every single thing like the microchips like microchips like really like አለማወቅ ነው ሰው አንዳንዴ like የሚሰማው like you don't have to have like a biology degree or like anatomy በጣም ማወቅ የለብሽም you just like think through it like some of these doesn't make sense like the magnet እሱኛው like because I've seen a couple of like nurses and yeah I think there's nurses እና የሆነች ዳክተርን magnet ይዣለሁ ተጣበቀብኝ after I took the vaccine no like like ላብ ያለሽ ምንም ነገር ጭንቅላሽ ላይ ብታረጊ it's going to get stuck that has no like like you can do it at home and like disprove it ራሳችሁ some of the stuff that are out like on social media ላይ online የምታዩት ነገር እና people just have like a number of reasons why they're not getting vaccinated. Again, the biggest one again is just the misinformation. The other one they tell you is like, oh, it's my right. Yeah, it is your right. Again, at the end of the day, when you're getting sick, you're coming to the hospital. Like you're putting so much strain like in the health system. Like I told you, like 800 ነው 900 አልጋ ያለው ሆስፒታል ነው እና it was just like so overwhelming like አልጋ ሁሉ ሞልቶ like like hallway ላይ ፔሸንቶች ይቆዩ ነበረ and then even the surrounding areas it's just less simple ነገር ሄደሽ like appendicitis ያላቸው ሰዎች they cannot get admitted to the hospital because there's no bed all the hospitals like the surrounding area are full of COVID patients they cannot admit any patients not like it's just a domino effect like like oh right no bilan we're just looking at it like from a right standpoint again down the road like ብዙ disaster is happening in the background because of the continued hesitancy or resistance to the vaccinations
the virus doesn't care about rights
yes
exactly unfortunately I wish it did
no right it doesn't care whether you're a Republican or a Democrat
right yeah
it doesn't matter
thank you very much እና ይሄ last question ግን እንትን ጥያቄ አለ ቻቱ ላይ አንድ ይሄን ልጠይቅና አሁን እንደምታውቁት ብዙ ለልጆችም አፕሩቫል ፕሮሰስ ላይ ነው እስከ 12 ይቻላል አሁን ደግሞ ከ12 በታች ላሉ ቫክሲኑ አፕሩቭ ይደረጋል beginning of the year ነው ስለስ አሁን አፕሩቭ ሳይደረግ በርግጥ ብዙ ካመንት ማድረግ ላትችሉ ትችላላችሁ ግን አሁን ባለው ሲቹዌሽን ምንድነው recommend የምታረጉት ለልጆች ላላቸው ሰዎች that are younger
yeah again yeah ይሄኛው difficult like ለኔ I do have ሶስት ልጆች አሉኝ they're all young like the oldest one is 8 again unfortunately remember like COVID መጀመሪያ ሲመጣ was the pneumonia of the elderly ነበረ right like old people were getting sick no recently even kids as young as like 5 are ending up in the hospital because of COVID and now lane like if I had the vaccine መጀመሪያ ላይ I had no issues if it becomes available I am going to get my kids vaccinated because I want to give them that fighting chance ምክንያቱም በኋላ if they get sick and something turns out wrong like ሁሌ regret አደርገዋለሁ ምክንያቱም I had the chance to save my kids and I I didn't act on it and now something happens that's going to be all on me ምክንያቱም እነሱ unfortunately they really don't have a choice even right now because under 12 they have no choice it's by luck that they're not getting sick and they're not dying they're just lucky You know what I mean? Again, like if it becomes approved, I will not hesitate, to get my kids vaccinated, because we've done it with the, MMR, we get the flu vaccines. They take a lot of vaccines, and now we should give them a fighting chance. And not like we've seen it, like in the adults, the vaccinated are not getting as sick. You can still get COVID vaccinated in Monash, you're not getting sick. So I would give them that chance. And not personally, I would get them vaccinated.
Thank you very much. With that said, group chat ላይ ጥያቄዎች አሉ። ዶክተር የሺና ዶክተር ዮናታን እንግዲህ ከሁለት አንዳችሁ የፈለጋችሁትን ጥያቄ መመለስ ትችላላችሁ። በጣም ብዙ ሰው ባይ ዘ ዌይ አመስግናችኋል ይሄንን ኢንፎርሜሽን ፕሮቫይድ ስላደረጋችሁ። አንድ ጥያቄ ምን ይላል? እናመሰግናለን ብለው please explain the difference between taking the vaccines and waiting for COVID pills to be approved. ማለትም please explain, provide explanation the difference between taking the vaccines and waiting for COVID pills to be approved.
Okay, so the vaccine is preventive so that you don't get the disease. The pill is after you get the disease for curative. So there's a difference. You don't want it after you get COVID, is to lessen the effect. So right now, most companies, that's what they're working on. Merck is what, different companies, without saying anything, mentioning, there are several companies that are after you get it, to lessen the effect. They're working on, several companies are working on it. And one of them is, of course, is a pill. So that's the difference. Vaccination is always preventive. Polio, any vaccination you have, vaccine is to prevent. So to carry on that discussion, there was a question on why do you get COVID even if you're vaccinated? Same thing with flu. If you get a flu vaccine, you can get the flu, but the difference is it's a less aggressive flu. Same thing with COVID. You may get, I've taken the COVID vaccine. It's not that I'm immune from COVID. It's just that when I get the COVID, I may find it's so mild that I may not sense it, or it may be a little more than mild, but it will never be as much as a full blown that causes me to go to the ICU. You're not going to treat. I mean, so it's this whole thing. Medicines are there to help us. Do they help us 100%, 100 every time? Not necessarily. We're all different. Our immune systems are all different. Our immune systems react to different. So it is for the majority that this is enough.
Yeah, and that question, should we get the vaccine or the pill? Again, this is like Lani personal matter. Why would we risk it? You have the vaccine that it's shown that it does prevent getting COVID, or like even if you get COVID, it lessens the severity of your disease. Why do you want to take that chance waiting for the pill? Because right now, for the admitted patients, hospital admit once they have COVID, hospital we give them Decadron and not remdesivir. It's just to help like tinish symptom like manage lamaragno. It's not treating it. We're not treating it. And despite doing this, it's not 100%. Because I tell my patients, hey, like this is what we do for patients that come in with COVID pneumonia. We'll see how it works. And like that's the hardest thing. Like for any regular pneumonia, like as a physician, you want to be like reassuring to your patients. Balila pneumonia simato, oh yeah, like we'll give you this antibiotics, you take it for 7 days, it gets better. With COVID, you can never say that. Yeah, we'll give you this and we'll see what happens. You don't want, that's the last thing you want to hear from your physicians, like we'll see what happens. Good. That's where we're stuck at, like we'll see what happens. So if there's something that works, which is the vaccine, why I don't think we should be waiting for a pill that might or might not get us better.
እሺ የሚቀጥለው ጥያቄ again any of you can answer it is booster recommended to everyone is the question.
So maybe I can also target that question that says why do you get 2 doses?
Yes, please.
So vaccines many times, so when you activate your immune system with that first dose, if the body does not see a disease coming, everything melts down. So to the point even to shut down. It clears it out. But you want to keep the memory. So even if you remember በልጅነታችን የምንወስዳቸውን vaccines, አንዳንዶቹ every 2 years we were given boosters, and it's to help the immune system remember. So once you get the first shot, it just activates everything. If your immune system does not see it, then they abandon. But if you remember, if it comes back again, there's a stronger probability to establish memory cells. So memory on establish ለማድረግ ነው ሁለተኛው. So if they, you get your first vaccine, 6 weeks later you get the booster. The second vaccine is to establish that memory that continues for a long time. Now, why do we need a booster? Okay, even after the second one, the memory starts, but then if the memory too is like after a year or 2, it may slowly go away. I mean, the more memory is, the longer stays, kabash. So the booster then is to allow that even longer memory. All right. So there's been discussion, should it be every year? We don't know yet. So right now, there's a booster that after 6 months of your first 2, 6 months later to take it. I mean, I haven't taken it. This is something I'm contemplating, but I'm not in a rush. Okay, no, we're all vaccinated, see? So we may take it. But right now it's scheduled for different populations, so we'll wait and see. But that's why you have a booster. So that's why you have multiple doses, multiple ways of the need for multiple injections.
Thank you very much. ሌላ ጥያቄ ደግሞ is hydrochloroquine useful to fight COVID when you get it?
So hydroxychloroquine, so we used that like initially, like the first, like, I don't know, 2 months or 3 months, because we really didn't know what we were dealing with. Like, we had no idea what was working, and at some point we were giving it in the hospitals, like the first 2-3 months. Kaza bahala again, like, data came up which showed like absolutely like no benefit from taking hydroxychloroquine. Kaza bahala FDA said, okay, like, let's stop using this. And now, like right now, like, I don't know any center like in the US that uses hydroxychloroquine COVID and treat lamatic. So the short answer is no, like it doesn't work. There's absolutely like no data to support hydroxychloroquine helps with COVID.
Thank you. The next one is for those who can have allergic reaction, what alternative is there? እንግዲህ ይመስለኛል በቫክሲኑ ኮምፖነንት አድጃንክት ዩዝ የተደረገው አለርጂክ ሪአክሽን ካላቸው ምን ማድረግ ይቻላል?
I mean, my suggestion is to work here with your doctor. There's usually a way out. There's usually something that is effective. Okay, so unless you have extremely severe allergic problems, I mean, when you are taking drugs, you have extremely severe, and that is a very, very low % of the population, then there's always a way out. Right, so work with my recommendation is working with your physician to figure out what's the best action to take. I mean, there's a few drugs out there for COVID. Which one has the least allergic suspension? that's one. I mean, they have to look into a few different things. I mean, they may give you allergic test to figure out if you indeed one of the components of the suspension you're allergic to it. All right, you can take an allergic test for that, and if it's not, then it's a possibility of taking it. So my recommendation is to work with a physician.
Yeah, and I think they might be able to, like, you know, like try like desensitization, because there's some antibiotics, like severe allergy so which for some antibiotics, if you need that specific antibiotic, like they can try to desensitize you, like small doses. So yeah, I don't know if they've done that again. Like Dr. Yashi said, like talk to your primary, whoever you're getting the vaccine from, and you can come up with a plan from there.
ይሄ እንግዲህ አንድ ሁለት ጥያቄ ይቀራል ከዛ we can close up የሚቀጥለው ይሄ hypothetical question ይሁን happen አድርጎ ይሁን maybe it might be a bit difficult to answer ጥያቄው someone who is not vaccinated exposed to COVID-19 closely did not get COVID when others did, including vaccinated ones. Is there an explanation to that? No ጥያቄው
I mean, from a scientist perspective, if I had to explain that, that person somewhere in their life has been infected by a virus closely with a protein resembling. So your immune system may have recognized. So it's already been alert. So, you know, we all travel our lives. I mean, we have different exposures in our lives. You know, some, you know, dirty you know, and so we have all different kind of immune memory, all right, established. So from a scientist perspective, that's how I would explain it. Is somewhere along your life your immune system did recognize something related, not necessarily COVID, but enough that when a real COVID came, it knows how to attack. So that's how I would explain it.
It's like your body recognizes it. Okay. I think I just lied under the yak because I will close. Is there any science to back ivermectin for the treatment of COVID-19?
None.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, like nothing we've seen. Because again, like the major centers, like zoo hospitals, they don't even offer like ivermectin. There's like really like there's no evidence for it. And then like, you know, if they suspected there might have been a benefit from it, I'm pretty sure there would have been studies. Again, I don't think there's any benefit from using ivermectin for COVID-19. And we're not using it. I haven't seen any data whatsoever.
Okay. It sounds.
There's one more question. So it says, do you think the booster shots are going to be an ongoing process for every 6 months? My personal thought, I think it's going to be like a flu vaccine. But if it's an mRNA, see, again, mRNA, we don't know how long it's going to, you know, how often. So it may be once every right now they want to attack it in every possible way. So right now there was a first dose, a second dose, a booster dose, maybe it's another booster dose every 5 years. Like I said, vaccines like changing. Okay, so the new vaccine, actually the new COVID, this the Delta variant. What's happened in the Delta variant is that spike protein is become a lot more efficient to latching on to the cell receptor. It used to fall off easily before. Now it's a very efficient to latch on, and that's why it's a more aggressive kind of COVID. All right. So we don't know where that spike protein may change. All right. So it may take it 5 years to change. It may take it 10 years to change. So the booster may land up being every maybe 5 years or every year. They have to wait and see. So right now, the first booster is recommended for 6 months. We don't know yet what the next booster is going to be recommended. So we just have to wait and see.
Yeah, this is, I promise, the last one. It actually commentum question no the panelists basically the question is for the panelists. Are you hearing of vaccine hesitancy among the US based Ethiopian community? That's one. And the second part, if so, what can we as a community do to encourage them to be vaccinated? Which is a great closing if there are no further questions. And now,
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, I have friends that hesitate. I find it very sad that I don't know where the decision is coming from. It would be nice if we were good if they were informed to make the decision. But I mean, like any one of us, we cannot force anybody. So I don't know in the Ethiopian community in general, if this is the case. Maybe you guys know more than I do. But I'm talking not just Ethiopian community. I'm just talking within my surrounding. Who, you know, when I hear hesitation, it's a choice. I mean, at the end of the day, it boils down to choice. But it would be good to be informed to make that choice.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, you know, like the Ethiopian community in the US, like we're not immune from misinformation. You know, so what the general public is seeing, like all the misinformation that's going out there, the Ethiopian community is getting it too. So they are misunderstanding, because I've heard it like from multiple people, like some of them are like my friends, so they're like, well, you know, like I saw something about like it causes fertility issues. No, it does not. You know, like there's just like they've debunked it like so many times. Like if you just hop in onto like cdc.gov, you know, the WHO website, even like John Hopkins, they have like really like nice like COVID myth you can like now they give you like a very nice explanation of why some of these things are wrong. And not unfortunately, you know, in this day, like with social media, like you can post whatever you want, and not I think from a society standpoint, I think Sinfanano, we don't like to do research. You know, we don't look at like, oh, where's this information coming? We just read the outline number, but that's information hidden, you know, see where the information is coming from. You know, legit site then you know, go from there. Like, you know, it's okay to research like misinformation beyond research again, at least know the source. And as far as like what can like our community do, again, it all boils down to like information. You know, like we should be able to provide, and you know, like some of us, like most of us that have been vaccinated, like we're vaccinated, we're still here, like we're not walking around with microchips and magnetizing everything, you know. So like seeing is believing, right? Like I got vaccinated, I'm still the same guy. Not like just providing all this information will be beneficial. And then, you know, like it's so easy, like it's just cdc.gov, you know, like you can just question ላላቸው ሰዎች, you know, always refer them, like እነዚህ you know, they're well respected, በደንብ ሪሰርች ያላቸው organizations ናቸው እና it's a good place, like የሄልት ጥያቄ ካላችሁ to go to one of those sites and get the information from there instead of Facebook.
I think more I know. The other part is religious. What about from religious standpoint? Do you guys have any comments? Religion and vaccine hesitancy?
I find it very. It's like 1 + 2 = 5. I don't understand. I mean, it has nothing to do with religion. So I have a hard time. That's just me. It has nothing to do with religion.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like I've actually like watched some videos. I think maybe that's what they're referring to, where there's some like, but I'm a mega millionaire and a pastor, and they talk about it like ቸርቻቸው ሆነው ማለት ነው። It's like, oh, what vaccine? We don't need the vaccine, you know, like we have Jesus, like Jesus gave me the power and I blown COVID and now COVID is gonna go away. So they're doing this like in a church setting, you know, like and so like ሃይማኖተኛ ብለው ያሰቡ like pastor ሲነግርሽ, you know, አንዳንዴ like I think people just kind of get carried away እንጂ I don't think there's any religion that would tell you like, oh, do not get vaccinated. ምክንያቱም ላይፍ የሰጠን እንግዲህ ያው ሪሊጂየስ መሆነ ሳይሆን like እግዚአብሔር የሰጠን ቫክሲኑንም እንግዲህ እግዚአብሔር በእኛ ጭንቅላት you know በሰው ዴቨሎፕ ባደረጉት ሰዎች ጭንቅላት አድርጎ he's giving us a solution.
Yeah.
So you can look at it from that standpoint. I don't think there's any religion that says, oh, like don't take the vaccine, just ሄዳችሁ ጸልዩበት አይላችሁም, you know.
If I may add, you know, when polio came out, I mean, you know, decades, centuries ago, over a century, I can't remember ago, I'm pretty sure the same question would have come. Oh my goodness, we can't take polio. It's against our religion. Now we don't even think about it, you know. But now here we are, 21st century. We should be more informed human beings than the people back then. And it's sad that we asked that same question that many centuries back. They asked the same question. So something is not quite right. Either we're not looking for the right sources to get us, you know, be informed. And I would question, you know, religious or not. I mean, it's recorded, so I'm not going to say. But I mean, it's funny for some of the reasons you look at are like, it blows my mind.
Wow, but thank you. You know, last ያልኩኝ በጣም ብዙ ጥያቄ ያመጣሁ ነው ምክንያቱም በጣም ማለፍ የማልችላቸው ጥያቄዎች ነው። አንዱ ኩዊክ ነው። መደርና እንትን boost ይመጣል ወይ ነው። The last one I promise is this is actually pretty important. It says quick question on the future of severely immunocompromised patients, i.e. heart transplant patients, rheumatological disorder and COVID. Do you have any comments on that?
I don't know whether Moderna or specifically Moderna, the RNA viruses, the RNA vaccines, there's booster. I just don't know. I believe the Pfizer one is out, but I don't know about the Moderna. So they're both RNA. So I would not, there won't be a reason why the Moderna does okay. So you just have to wait and see when it's coming out. It should be out. I don't have much information about it.
I think it's a matter of time. I think apply aድርገው I think approval እየጠበቁ መሰለኝ ግን like I think Moderna is going to have a booster shot coming.
Yeah.
And then from like the last question, like can you clarify the immunocompromised? I mean, really again, like the biggest like weapon on ያለ is really the vaccine. That's why መጀመሪያም like you know vaccination ሲጀመር like you know elderly immunocompromised የተባለው so they have like you know a better chance of fighting it. Even around like the booster shots recommendation, that's like for those specific patients, you know, like immunosuppressed የሆኑ transplant patients, you know, like በጣም close contact, like in the healthcare workers, like COVID patients ጋር ነው, like that's who the boosters, like at least the initial boosters are being recommended. So I mean, really, kind of like that's what we have, like in regards to COVID and immunosuppression is just really vaccine is really our biggest weapon.
I think that's all the questions we have. I can't let go of people having questions. The more questions we get, there's a potential we'll get more people that would get vaccinated. That's why. Doesn't matter which booster shot you take. If you had the Moderna 2 doses, but then now only the Pfizer shot is available, since both are mRNA, is that okay?
No, so they highly recommend that you stick with the one that you were getting. Okay, so don't mix and match. You'll see it all over the place. Don't mix and match. So talk to your doctor. I would not mix and match. they say, please don't. There's a reason. I mean, I understand. I mean, they're both mRNAs. They both do spike, but this lab did it and slightly got to the same spike than this lab. So there is some logic to it. I mean, I don't want to get into too much detail in the science, but yeah. You might wait. I mean, it's a matter of, I mean, it's not like months and months. Within a short time, it should be out.
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, data on review ያረጉ ነበረ. If Moderna is approved, it's going to be half a dose. So I'm sure ሁሉም ሰው is aware the Moderna vaccine is faring out a little bit better for the Delta variant. So, I agree. I think CDC earlier ምንድን ነበር ያሉት? It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So as long as you're vaccinated, the booster will come out. It's reasonable to take some time until a little more information comes out. I think that's my recommendation. With that said,
one last thing is here. Just one last thing.
Please.
And really, whether like we're vaccinated or not, because I know when the cases were going down, they lifted up the restrictions and everybody was just like, oh, COVID is going, like mask we're off. Like, please, like continue to wear the mask. Because we're not out of it yet. In Oman, we're actually going into the winter season, right? So flu's gonna pick back up. Last year, and I remember like in the hospital, I did not have a single flu case because everybody was masking. So even, it helps you from both sides. You're not gonna get the flu and then it's helping with COVID. So at least until we're clear out, try to mask and, do the social distancing as much as we can. Like those should always go together.
Thank you. በጣም እንግዲህ ዶክተር ዮሽም ዶክተር ዮናታንም በጣም በኢሲኤልኤ ስም በጣም አመሰግናችኋለሁ። ነው what a dynamite duo ሁለታችሁም በጣም ኢንፎርሜሽናል የሆነ ዲስከሽን ነበረ እና ሆፕፉሊ ሆፕ ለኢሲኤልኤ ምንድነው ብዙ ሰውም ስላለቀ በኮቪድ ብዙ ቫክሲን ሄዚተንሲም ስላለ ከኤክስፐርቶች በተለይ ዶክተር የሺ እንደው ስብርብር አርገሽ ነው ያስረዳሽን ኮንሰፕቱ ኤምአርኤንኤም እንደሆነ ለምን ዋይ ለምን እንዳልሆነ እና ወደፊትም ብዙ ቫክሲኖች ወደ ኤምአርኤንኤ መቀየራቸው ስለማይቀር አሁን በችግር ሰዓት በተለይ በአሁኑ ሰዓት it's very important እና እሱን በጣም ስላስረዳሽን በጣም እናመሰግናለን። Now we're very proud እንደናንተ ያለ ሰው ኮሚኒቲያችንስ በመኖሩ አይ ኖ ጊዜያችሁን በጣም ወስደንባችኋል እና በጣም እናመሰግናለን። ጆይን ላረጋችሁንም በፌስቡክም ሆነ በኢንስታግራም አሁንም ላይቭ ላላችሁ ሰዎች እና ጥያቄ ላቀረባችሁልን ሁላችሁንም እጅግ አድርገን እናመሰግናለን። በኢሲኤልኤ ስም በሆስቱ በሁሉም ሰው ስም በጣም እናመሰግናለን። በቃ አሊያዛችሁ መልካም ምሽት ለሁላችሁም። Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.